All right, it is time for round 2 of our Z Fold 8 Ultra Rapid Fire Roundup, and this will be the final round because, good lord, this has been a lot of cases. The first 20-ish cases you can find in this video here. For those of you who this is your first one, welcome. Just to lay down some ground rules and the rapid fire review roundups that we do here, we are going to go over some very specific things. We are going to go over fit, feel, protective considerations, MagSafe strength in the sense that I will attach it to this and go like that. And we will go over whether or not it will fit a large MagSafe accessory, like say this big honkin' power bank or my wallet. What we will not be doing is checking on things like what degree of MagSafe charging the case is capable of getting. We're not going to be weighing it. We're not going to be specifically measuring the MagSafe strength with my MagSafe strength test thingy. And we're not going to be looking at things like compatibility with my gaming controllers or anything like that. That all gets saved for the solo or brand specific reviews. Now, that being said, we do have a pretty fun and exciting lineup today. We have UAG, TORRAS, Samsung, random cases off of Amazon from companies such as WSKEN and YQODSZ. Honest to God, there's one that begins with a Y and ends with a Z, and there's like 5 other letters in there. There's a series of cases that I'm fairly certain are all the same case, but from different companies, so we're going to look at that. We have cases from RAPTIC and Pitaka and memumi. That being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. We are going to start off with a case that I reviewed for the Z Fold 7 as well, the UAG Mouve, M-O-U-V-E, Mouve. Now, one thing that I immediately noticed, the major problem I had with this case last year, is that you could not get a USB charger into the charging port if it was closed. Last year they had like plastic here, and that plastic is no longer there. So they figured it out. Maybe they watched my review. They probably didn't watch my review. This is a 2-piece case, front and back piece, no hinge protection. They claim military grade drop standard, which I suppose technically can be achieved without hinge protection, but also really calls into question every claim I've ever seen UAG ever make, trying to pretend like a case without hinge protection as any sort of good drop protection. Almost all polycarbonate. There is a little bit of TPU here and over here as well. And there are stickers to adhere this on there. Although it's stuck on there pretty well without. And they do have the little divots in the corners for the airbags kind of situation. That does help with drop protection. And this is the regular Mouve, by the way. There is also an XTE, which we will look at next. It is not often that I have a hingeless case. It's weird. It's got some grip on the side here. Even with the grip, this is quite slippery. Good bezel here, and the camera bezel is looking good too. Of course, this part's down by design, but that's fine. So yeah, that looks good. You've got UAG's signature hexagon thing going on there. And one thing that I do like to point out is they appear to understand the assignment when it comes to large MagSafe accessories and cut it out here, which does not really decrease the drop protection in any real significant way. So that's nice. They understood the assignment there. The branding there. Buttons are completely open, good chamfer. That all feels very nice, but again, it is pretty slick. Pretty good magnet strength. That was right on the hinge. That was literally right on the hinge. I am so unhappy right now. I would never use a case without a hinge protection because I am clumsy, and also I do things like throw my phone around for the channel. Let's go straight to the, yeah. Without even a question, that goes right on there. Beautiful. Good job, UAG. You understand what Samsung has done to us with this stupid island, and you have accommodated for it, and I appreciate you for that. So that is the UAG Mouve, the regular version. And why did I say the regular? Is because there is an XTE version, and this one, just picking it up, feels sturdier. It's heavier. I wonder if that's all this ring, because it does have a ring. It's a good feeling ring. A lot of the times these things feel very flimsy, but this one feels quite nice. And it is one of the ones that turns, looks like it only locks in at the horizontal angle here. So we'll take a look at that as well. This part is cut out just like in the regular version, so still have the assignment. This one has a little bit more TPU down here around the corners. The drop protection is even stronger. Once again, you can see the indents even more clearly because I think it goes down into that extra space there in the corner. Definitely have some more substance. The front piece definitely has more material too. So definitely more considerations made to drop protection in this case. On the S26 Ultra, each of its drop tested claims on the cover comes with a number saying how many feet it is that it is drop tested to, whereas these do not say anything whatsoever about how far. They only say military grade, so that is 4 feet 24 times, I believe. Not my favorite marketing thing there. We can see once again, we've got the stickers here that we can stick this on if we want to. That definitely feels different. Once again, hingeless case though. I don't know if I like the way that feels. This feels exactly like it looks it would. Flat, kind of odd feeling. I don't know. It would definitely be something to get used to. That being said, way grippier than the regular Mouve. Like, dang. Just a honkin' bezel in the front. Plenty of room for a screen protector there. And looking good there too. Of course, this part's chamfered down, but you'd have to drop it in a very, very, very specific way to even damage just the ultra wide a little bit. I feel like this is the best way to deal with Samsung's craziness with the island. Less of a chamfer because we have it completely elevated here to protect the buttons. So the buttons are there. All of that looks good. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the stand strength. Is pretty good. Okay, yeah, that is a solid built-in stand, which you can also use as a grip. So there's that. Decent MagSafe strength, given the fact that this is a ring, because a lot of the times these things have terrible MagSafe strength. That is good. All right. I foresee no issues with the large MagSafe accessory because of the cutout there, because they did leave this part of it cut out because UAG understood the assignment. This year, much more impressed with UAG's Z Fold offerings than I was last year. I look forward to diving into these in a more in-depth review. Dang, like, I'm having trouble getting this off of the front. There we go. So I do not think those stickers necessary. You can definitely put it on because it's going to keep you from being able to do that on the front piece. Playing the little Z Fold banjo, but that stuck on there real well. Let's go directly into another company that has a million different models for regular lines of phones and then only one type of model for the Fold, and that is ZAGG. ZAGG only has their Crystal Palace available, at least as far as I can tell, for the Z Fold 7. And wow, that is flimsy feeling. Holy cow, that is the flimsiest feeling front hinge part that I have seen in any case. This is a clear case, so it's going to be a little more difficult to see the divots, but they are there. Trying to show them off with my fingers. And then you can even see on the outside here where it's raised up as well. So even though this is so bendy, that might even be TPU. It feels bendier than TPU. Confusingly have this part chamfered down, but that is very confusing. I don't understand why they would do that. But they did not do it here. They did it here. That doesn't make sense. Then I have already scuffed this up. This is why I do not like clear cases. Is there like a plastic cover that I missed? Or if it is just scuffed? Wow, no, it's already, I was able to get that out. All right, that's why I don't like clear cases. They just show off every little piece of dirt or anything. They tend to pick up fingerprints. They're not my thing. There are other people's things, and I don't judge. Now this case is all one piece. It's actually reminiscent to me of the Spigen Slim Armor, where it's got the little kind of connector thing here. So make sure you don't lose that if it comes out. Decent enough bezel, like the deepest one ever, but enough. Definitely enough bezel on the cameras. So this does come down a little bit. Hinge is springy only based on tension. That's sort of springy. Like look at that sticker or something there. So, I mean, I can understand liking the clear cases just because I get to look at the pretty color on my phone. On the same token, I feel like I would also always be doing this. But yeah, that's down. Not very slippery, so that's good. Hinge feels nice. This is still incredibly loose. Does it come with stickers? Crazily does not. Is there a sticker on there that I did not notice? Also, no. Wow, ZAGG, that is not impressive. Like, everyone has stickers. But this is a sleek looking clear case. Let's do this before we go any crazier. Not bad. Pretty good. That is decent. But we are having to go askew to attach large MagSafe accessory. What about the wallet? Yeah. That's a big no on large MagSafe accessories for ZAGG. Good little chamfer there. That part's all lined up well. Those are lined up well. That's all lined up well. First time I've looked at a ZAGG case for the channel, and I have to say I'm not impressed. Let's go ahead and look at Miimall. The first one we are going to look at is their Ultra Slim, which is another two-piece case. This one, I just realized none of those other ones came with screen protectors. It's so uncommon, but this one does. Okay, so two-piece case. It's got kind of like a rubberized, maybe some TPU on the inside there. Polycarbonate pretty much all the way around. So a little bit of TPU on the inside would help with shock. That makes sense. Don't normally see that particular. Got some indent there, but not a lot. Okay, yeah, there's a decent little indent there. This is hard for me to see in the blue. Okay, so I guess the theme so far is hingeless cases. Let's go ahead and get that on there. Oh yeah, that is polycarbonate through and through. Even polycarbonate around the camera lenses. Camera bezel looks nice. And then front bezel, it's fine. I mean, it's got a screen protector already, so it's not as much of a consideration when the screen protector is included. And one thing that I will point out about this is that I feel tricked because the picture on Amazon very much looks like this one has individual camera cutout, but no, it has the oval. So I feel very much like I was misled. I do understand the appeal of hingeless cases though. That looks so cool. So flat. Got a good bit of like the texture here on the exterior is good as far as grip is concerned. That's nice. Impressively strong MagSafe. Okay, I'm on board. Wonder if that means this is gonna work. Yes. So that is hanging on. Yep, that is hanging on just fine. When it can hold, all right, Miimall. Well, not bad. Very minimalistic case. So, looking good on the cutouts there. All right, so pretty good on the first Miimall offering. Now, the second one I felt less misled on, except for it looks much cooler in the picture. It looks very cheap in real life. It does have the individual camera cutout, but it's got this like very cheap plastic metal kind of look and feel to it. This one comes with a hinge. Springy hinge. And it is also a included screen protector case, front and back. You can very much see the divots in this. I really want, is this like aluminum? Is this not? Ooh, I don't know how I feel about this case. That's interesting. It's definitely not my style. Fold case designed by ZLS. Who is ZLS? Is Miimall ZLS? Designed by Shenzhen Technology. Fairly certain these might be dropshipped, but that's okay. Okay, so we have both the divot that was obvious on the inside, but you can see that there is a bumper on the outside as well of the corners. So that is good. Ooh, trying to throw my phone. Bezel, unsurprisingly. Still, I mean, the bezel is good at least, but it's got a screen protector on there as well. So, and then of course, individual camera cutouts on this side and recessed well. That is hard, a little bit harder to access than I would like. It's not chamfered down enough. Oh, wow. Like, it's really hard to access. Okay, yeah, I do not like that. That's all lined up well, though. God, what is this design? Don't seem to be having issues touching through the glass. Well, that's good at least. Do not like that part. Now let's see if the magnets on this thing are as strong as it's... No, they're not. Not even in the same ballpark. Like, huh. That does very much lead me to believe that these are two different dropshipped cases underneath the same company. These cases could not be more dissimilar. The entire thing looks cheap and meh. No. I've been looking forward to this one. This is RAPTIC's Aramid Skin Pro. Aramid Skin Pro Grid Wisdom. Just keeps going. Interestingly, this is a back piece hinge, no front piece. 1500D Aramid fiber, which is the more loosely woven kind, so it's got a little bit more texture. It's one that I prefer personally, and that is Aramid fiber all the way around. So yeah, that's not like TPU. Now this hinge, that's polycarbonate on a hinge, but that's to be expected. Let's see, yep, you can definitely see the little divot there. All right, so no front piece. Snapped in there real nice. You know, we looked at RAPTIC's Aramid fiber thing last year too. All of that lines up really well. Very minimalistic, very sleek looking. Now the hinge does come up a little bit above the screen, so I think they expect you to get a screen protector, and I would recommend it. Yeah, you could do a lot worse than back piece hinge plus screen protector. I like this design. This design I'm pretty sure is new this year for RAPTIC. MagSafe strength, very nice. Very, very nice. Large MagSafe accessory, also very nice. Whew, that is on there. And look at the camera bezel, because there's no looking at the front bezel. That's what, some like aluminum. Very nice. All right, I had been looking forward to looking at that. I'm glad I did. All right, it is time for the Samsung cases, and I'm excited about that. So this is their silicone magnet case. And it is just a back piece. It feels very cheap. It's got silicone and polycarbonate. So it is two materials, even though it really doesn't look like it. Unsurprisingly, we have the corner divots, and oh, look, they include some stickers to keep it on, which doesn't give me a lot of hope for it staying on itself. It's just a back piece, no hinge, no front. Huh. That is really cutting it close on the bezels. I think if you had camera lens protectors, that would go over the hump there. So they're definitely going for a minimalistic thing, and they are certainly achieving it, because that is very thin for a non-Aramid case. Those are all lined up well. It'd be very embarrassing for Samsung if they weren't. Buttons are easily accessible, as is most of the case, because very, very little of it is covered. Like I said, it does come with a film that you can put over the front. Okay, magnets are fairly strong. This thing just pops right off. That is not a good hold. Huh. Large MagSafe accessory is on there just fine. Pretty strong too. All right, well, that is interesting. Not sure how I feel about this case. I mean, it's not for me, so it's hard for me to say. I like the way it feels. I don't like the way it looks like it's printed on there. I do like the way it feels. That silicone feels nice. All right, next up we are going to look at the official Samsung carbon fiber case. There's absolutely nothing that, in my mind, justifies this price for this case. Looks pretty cool. Definitely Aramid fiber. Got like a 1500 and a 600 weave here. So two different textures. It's good texture. There's still a divot in the corner. So they're trying to get some drop protection out of this, but you don't really get a lot out of just a back piece case. I mean, who are you trying to fool? Snaps on there, super nice. That's about the right fit. So I feel better about the fit on this than I did the silicone one. That's about the fit I would expect from a back piece. Extremely thin. It does look good. I will give it that. And it feels good. And it does give you some grip. Good amount of grip. That's a good grip, actually. All right. MagSafe strength. It's a good magnet. Which makes me think this is going to be just fine. Oh yeah, that is not a problem. But it is as tight on that island as it can be. I mean, that is still a very hefty price tag for what it is. But as far as carbon fiber cases go, it's pretty good if you like just back piece cases. And then finally in Samsung land, we have their clear case, which they're somehow charging $60 for this. That is insane, because this is just a clear back piece. This is just a clear polycarbonate back piece. This is not $60 worth of case. This is less $60 worth of case than the carbon fiber one was $110 worth of case, which is saying a lot. But that being said, yeah, okay, they're the corner divots, so as protective as it can possibly be, just being a piece of polycarbonate that you're putting on the back. Fits on there very snugly. Buttons are fine. I mean, again, clear cases and I don't get along. I understand wanting to show off your phone's color. Again, it would be absolutely embarrassing for Samsung if this wasn't lined up, but it is. I do like the way that camera looks, the white accent, but this adds no grip whatsoever. Magnet's very strong again, so I would not be surprised if this works just fine. It does. That is not a $60 case. That is highway robbery. I feel like I was robbed. Okay, note to self, Samsung official cases are very overpriced for what they are. All right, now I alluded to this back at the beginning, but these three cases are all exactly the same, and they are by three different companies: Halokin, Hensinple, and AICase. I need to make sure I don't get these mixed up. But we can look at all three of them and see that they are built exactly the same way, complete with not hinge, but connected front and back piece, complete with a chamfered, possibly overly chamfered lens area. Look at that. And oddly, the first thing we've looked at that has buttons. But yes, these are all exactly the same. So I'm going to still count it as three, but I'm going to do them all at once, because they're all going to fit exactly the same. Divot, 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 divot. They all have the same divots. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the blue one for additional contrast. Button is easily accessible. Volume buttons are very usable. However, look at how much of that lens is exposed by the bottom being chamfered. That is too much. That is too much being exposed. They did not need to go that hard. I would be worried about using that. There's no hinge, but that does look cool. But they always look cool, so all of that lines up well. And let's go ahead and, oh yeah, the bezel. It's good bezel. This is a deep bezel, but then they completely give it up here. But this part's really deep, but this part's like, no, that is, I have never seen it that exposed. That's like half of the that's like half of the ultra wide lens just hanging out. It's like that lens is Donald Duck in it. Okay, well, okay. How's the magnet? Quite good. Yeah, that is a good magnet. So this is going to have no problem whatsoever because it essentially is touching the island itself. But that magnet is crazy strong. Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say is that I did look at AICase's case last year. Did not realize they were a drop shipping company. Although now that I think about it, I did see a bunch more clear cases that were like their case later. So I don't think I knew what drop shipping was at that point. But AICase had an issue last year like UAG did where you couldn't plug it in, but they seem to have purchased their supply from a different factory or that factory wised up. Either way, it does not appear to be an issue this year. For AICase, Hensinple, or what did I say? Halokin? Doesn't even really matter what they're called, does it? They all come in like different colors. I mean, these are polycarbonate TPU cases. They're your basic not hinged case. They're going to protect as pretty much as well as any polycarbonate TPU case is going to. So if you don't want hinge protection, I'd still be worried about the camera here, honestly. All right. So yeah, I'm going to count that as 3. Let's go ahead and do Pitaka. Carry lighter, live now. Now, they do have a sticker on the inside to keep it on. Although if this is like last year's, probably just not necessary. Steps in there so nice. That's the Aramid fiber throughout. So like nothing else going into the exterior here, just straight up, unforgiving Aramid fiber. Very small indents there. Not really getting this case for the protection factor. Mainly it is scratch protection and camera protection. It's interesting this part's chamfered down here. All right, so it does manage to pretty much as little room as you can have. So going very much on the minimalist on this Pitaka thing, which is not surprising. Pitaka is probably my top pick for just a back piece, no hinge. You just want a back piece for camera and scratch protection. Pitaka is who I will recommend to you. This is their 600D one. They've got 1500D and better designs, I feel like, on those, but I almost never get the 600D ones, so I figured I'd get one this year. MagSafe strength, strong. Not surprising, Aramid fiber cases are really good at letting the magnet go through because they're super thin and Aramid does not really interfere with that sort of thing. So, Pitaka. Yeah, this needs to go this way because despite it being so strong, that bezel is just too big. Probably can get away with the wallet though, just because of the strength of the magnet. Yeah, so power bank's gonna come off just because it's unforgiving in that it needs to occupy that same place at the same time. But with the wallet, at least with this wallet and most wallets, as long as you don't have like a metal one, it's going to have a little bit of give here, which is well worth it because this magnet is holding that on there, no problem whatsoever. I do really like Pitaka's edge. That's what it's called. One of those random, but not that random, because I've seen them on Amazon before. I looked at their stuff last year too. YQODSZ. I actually believe I recorded a review, but did not actually release it. It does come with a screen protector, which I will not be installing because I just have to take it off again, and that would be no fun. This is a two-piece case, front, back, hinge, not springy, and okay. I remember very specifically last year thinking that the WSKEN ring was super flimsy. It feels a bit sturdier this year. It's still a little bit more flimsy than I would like, but it does not feel like I will accidentally bend it like it did last year. There's some resistance there. Interesting though that this kind of bulges out. That's going to help with the large MagSafe accessories as well, but also interfere with cheap charging. So trade-offs, yep. Pretty much everyone has these little airbags in the corner these days. Just such a useful and simple to implement design option for some extra protection. Fits in there nice. It's a good snap. Good snap, WSKEN. I like saying WSKEN. WSKEN. W-S-K-E-N. WSKEN. Okay. This is very sleek. This is a lot thinner than I thought it was. Buttons are easy to access. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Cutouts look good. We'll test that. Yeah, it fits in there fine. Good. Good. Not bad. Not like the best one in the entire world, but it's very useful. And you can also use it as a grip if you would like. Right, MagSafe strength. Pretty good. It is suffering from the issue that a lot of these cases have though, where the stand magnet isn't as strong as it could be. But usually it's made up for in the fact that it comes out a little bit. And yeah, large MagSafe accessory does fit just fine. Oh yeah, bezel. Bezel looking good. Camera bezel also looking good. It's very sleek. I feel like this is an improvement over their case last year too, just in every way. Which is nice because so many of the cases between the Z Fold 7 and the Z Fold 8 were just the same case. Just like with the buttonhole moved a little bit. So it's nice to see someone actually improve on their design from last year. Thank you, WSKEN. And this one does come with a screen protector, 2 of them actually, which is a really nice touch. Really nice include, I think. Now we have one that if you've looked at Amazon, you have probably seen because they like to sponsor the ever-loving heck out of their results. And this is FNTCASE, FNTCASE. They are also another one of these companies. It's got a ring. This one does not go all the way around. This one is one that spins here. And this also feels sturdier than... I remember a lot of these rings just felt very flimsy last year. They're all much sturdier this year. It makes me happy. Got a chamfered area here on the lens protector, on the lens bezel. That's probably far enough down. We'll see. So we have a FNTCASE with and without the stand, and that is the only difference between them as far as I know. Buttons are the same. Interior is the same. So everything is going to be the same except for MagSafe strength. So we'll check that out, and the fact that one has a ring and the other doesn't. Yeah, divots at both there and there. That was a good snap. Okay, so definitely need the sticker. If there isn't a sticker, Interesting. You actually have to use a screen protector to adhere it down. Oh, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I can't actually review this case without doing this. So we are actually going to put on a screen protector to almost immediately take it off. How many comes with more than one? No, of course not. I'm not even cleaning my screen or anything. Now it probably won't. Yeah, see? And now that the screen protector is on, it no longer slides the front of the case up. It is, however, doing something that I have not seen in 30-something-ish cases, and I have not seen since the Z Fold 7, but the hinge is grabbing that little piece and pulling on it. So it is putting pressure on it every time it opens and closes. I do not like that long term. All right, well, that's fine. Also fine, pretty stable actually. MagSafe strength, pretty good. And then this should have no problem at all because that is down. And yeah, they were definitely a little overzealous on the camera cutout at the bottom there. Well, that looks good. I got distracted by the screen protector, which I did not put on evenly. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the other FNTCASE to check out its magnet strength. Same deal where the hinge is pulling on that little flappy bit. Pretty good. Yeah. And then again, not gonna be a problem. Whew. Okay, well, I mean, it's quite grippy. They're both quite grippy. I always like the semi-transparent, but with the accent thing going. I wish this was a little bit more, and I wish this was built a little bit better, but it's not terrible. I mean, if you want a screen protector, you could certainly do worse. And I like the grip. I do like the grip on this one. If this had individual camera cutouts, I'd probably rock it a little bit. All right, NINKI. Right. This is the one that doesn't have MagSafe, but it does come with a stand, which had snapped off on me earlier, but oh, look, no, a stand which comes off really easily. Yeah, really easily. Don't like that. It also comes with a grip, which I thought was kind of cool. Actually feels nice. Not really much of a dent there. It's probably one of the smallest. I mean, it exists. Not super impressed with it though. Could certainly be better. They're nice. If it's on there, that's poking. Oh, right. I think this is why I don't put screen protectors on. Because now this case doesn't fit right because the screen protector's on from the FNTCASE. So goodbye FNTCASE screen protector. Oh yeah, that fits a lot better now. Easy to access. All that lined up. Good. Still have a good bit of bezel, even though the screen protector's there. Oh, and it comes down here in the middle for ease of swiping. That's always a nice little consideration. And the camera bezel looks good. Let's test out this stand. It is not a stand that is really super good for portrait mode. Definitely much better for landscape though. And then I keep taking it right off. Not a big fan of the stand. But serviceable as long as you don't, pull it off. It's not the most comfortable. I wish this was more centered. But it certainly is there and eliminates the wobble. I know a lot of people ask me about that. And that would be the first thing that I've seen that had took any sort of consideration to eliminate the wobble at all. But yeah, this pretty much completely does away with it. Well, that's nice. How was the hinge on this? Springy hinge. All right, NINKI. You pulled me back in with the eliminating the wobble thing. I know a lot of people are going to be excited about that. But no MagSafe. Trade-offs. All right, let's go with a brand called Memumi, who I have looked at before for other cases and have very much liked their Aramid fiber things. All right, so Memumi's got Aramid fiber all the way around. Coming down into here. Oof, sharp. The hinge is obviously not. So that's just plastic, polycarbonate. It's got a sticker here on the inside. MagSafe. Oh, it includes the full MagSafe array, not just the circle. That's always nice to see. Here, good divot there. Okay, this is just the back piece and hinge. Ooh. So again, you could get like a screen protector and be pretty much, all right, I'm on board again. Feels like they have like a little bit of a finish on this. A lot of companies do that. Okay, good. It's not sharp here around the buttons. A lot of times the Aramid fiber is. So it's cut well. Buttons are very accessible. Those things are lined up well. Good. Good bezel. Hinge has, like I said, a little bit of a raised bit on the hinge too, so you can get a screen protector in there and still be flush. MagSafe strength. Aramid fiber always rocking MagSafe just because of how thin it is and how little it interferes with magnetic stuff as opposed to, say, polycarbonate or TPU. Larger MagSafe accessory. No. Bezel's too big. So it's a little bit too thick here on the bezel, and we are not getting large MagSafe accessory. Let's see, what about the wallet? Nope, not even the wallet. So it is just too interfering. Alas, I still like your rays of the setting sun here, Memumi. I don't know, should I do a top Aramid case again this year? I have a feeling it would just be just the same as last year's, so I don't know if there's really a point. All right, here's another Memumi. This one has a front piece. Confusingly, this one comes with a front piece, but no hinge protection. And the other one was a hinge protection, but no front piece. This is also 600 Aramid fiber as opposed to the 1500 of the other one. So a lot smoother. See the same giant bezel. So we are going to have an issue there with MagSafe stuff. Just realized that we're on a different review, so I need to look on the inside again. Divots, divots, divots. This one does not have MagSafe. This will make testing the MagSafe very easy. I don't know if I realized that when I ordered it. Oh, okay, well. Probably want to use the stickers to put this part down. If you are, so you don't do this with it. Don't annoy your friends, because that's what I would do. Good looking bezel. And then plenty of camera bezel as well. And of course no MagSafe, so no real consideration there. Now, the 600 is definitely slipperier than the 1500, much less grip. But that is part of the 600's charm, is just how sleek it is. Look at that. Look at that. You do not get these for the protection. You get these to keep your cameras from getting hurt and to keep your phone from getting scratched. And then you get still just this amazingly thin form factor, even with a front piece like this. Yeah, and that would still be too thin for some, or too thick for some people, which, like, wow. All right, Memumi. These two are similar to each other. I had a request to look at cases that have styluses. So this one is by a company called YQODSZ two-piece case. Back piece, springy hinge stylus feels very cheap. The plastic does. And ooh, this is what I was talking about. That is a cheap ring. Oh man, I could very easily bend this on accident. Ugh. So front piece does have screen protector. Divots are pretty easy to see. Snaps in there nice. Easy to reach those. Oh, we've got the good bezel, and then it's down here in the middle for swiping. That's always nice to see. It's a nice little consideration. That's all lined up well, as is that. Okay. Yeah. Not the best stand. Certainly not the worst that I've ever used, but I would be worried about accidentally bending this because that feels easy to bend. That is awkward. The pen and the hinge here. Now, Nilkin had something similar for this and still does, and that feels way more natural than this. So this does not feel great. Decent grip though, and that helps. Stylus feels very flimsy too. Does it come out? Stylus is very difficult to get out. I feel like I'm gonna break it. Okay, that was not easy. I guess that's probably not coming out on accident anytime soon. Yeah, it's doing fine. This rubber tipped stylus. Do have to apply a bit of pressure, it feels like. And I don't know. The nub, how do I describe this? It's like a loose eraser. How about that? It's like a loose eraser. It's not the best feeling stylus I've ever used in my life. Oh, and you have to put it in exactly right or it comes out really easy. Okay, yeah. Do not like this case. Sorry, because it feels like I need to get this case to say its own name backwards to send it back to where it came from. All right, maybe we'll have more luck with this other stylus inclusive case, LIDEEYA. Yeah, two-piece case, front piece, springy hinge, place in the hinge for a stylus. Stylus, very sturdy feeling stylus. This is metal. It has got a rubber tip that exists but is not like incredibly loose. This already feels worlds better than the last one. It's got a cover as well. Comes in a nice purple and has hidden kickstand. I don't usually like these because generally they make it so you can't get the best wireless charging, but some people do, and I'm not going to fault them for it. Everyone has different priorities. All right, wow, that is a very immediate and obvious divot in the corners. Yeah, so much so that I was able to tell from the inside that the outside would have a bump, and it does. So doing good on the drop protection considerations there. Kind of is that like a felty type, like a very light felt type paper on the inside. That's going to help it not get scratched. It's nice. Very springy hinge. Says it's for the fold 7 or 8. That is interesting. I have my 7 right here. Let's find out. I have not, as of yet, traded it in. And for those of you who are giving me a hard time about my sticker still being on the back of my 8, let me show you my 7 and how its sticker is still on the back. Bruh. I don't even think I can get that off at this point. Does the 7 fit in it? Huh. Yes. Yes, it does. Not surprising. Yep. So that's fine. So it says this for the 7 or 8, and it's not lying. Assuming it fits in the 8 right now. That'd be funny if it didn't. Nope. Easy, easy. This is a little more substantial a case, and I think we've looked at all this entire run, except for possibly UAGs. This is definitely a beefy case. Really good looking bezel. Not surprising. And that's with the screen protector too. That is deep, which is very surprising then how shallow the bezel is on the cameras. Interesting. MagSafe strength. Oh, careful. See, it's strong, but the magnet attaching the door or the hidden kickstand to the case is not strong enough, so momentum gets it. But this, like if I just do this, that is difficult to pull off. So that's nice. Large MagSafe accessory. Ooh, fits just fine. Yep, and that's because the bezel is so shallow, especially with the kickstand. So I guess that makes sense now. Well, it's taking the kickstand with it. You have kickstand. You can, I guess, prop it up like this if you want to. That works. I've definitely seen it work worse on these before, so. And then this way. I guess if you want to watch it in that angle, you're good. Why is Candy Crush on my phone? Ugh, stupid new phone and it installing things that I did not ask for. Or possibly children installing things I did not ask for. One or the other. Okay, Stylus works decently enough, and I don't even have the easy screen touch turned on, so that's nice. And then, how does it go in here? Okay. Okay. And that's way less awkward to hold than the other one too. I mean, it is bulky as all get out. When you start with the Z Fold 8 and then you get up to this, that is bulk. But if that's what you want, that's what you want. Also, it pretty much gets rid of the wobble. There's just a little bit left. But that's because it made it so thick the camera island's almost gone. Probably the most protective case we've looked at tonight. Either that or UAG. No, UAG didn't have a hinge. This is definitely the most protective case we've looked at tonight. Maxdara for Z Fold. Carbon fiber black. This is one of those very cheap cases that is Aramid fiber, or says it is. Oh, back piece. And front piece, which is definitely not Aramid fiber. Screen protector. No hinge. Oh. Oops. Oh. I did not mean to do that, but I just popped right out of there. And yeah, that is not Aramid fiber. That is plastic. That is plastic with a print on it. 100%. And this is why I don't trust all of those like really cheap Aramid fiber things that you see on Amazon or AliExpress. Half the time they are polycarbonate with a print on them. And people think they're getting Aramid fiber, but they're not. And then people say, oh, this is the same as this other company that blah, 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 but they charge so much more. But it's not. It just looks the same. They made their print look like it. Scam, Maxdara. Unlabeled. Cool. Always a good sign. Don't even bother putting the name on the box. Got some felt on the inside. Okay. This polycarbonate with some sort of weird, wow, whatever this is falling apart. Like the sticker here is completely falling off. Yeah, so this is a piece of junk. Comes with a stand. Stand is surprisingly sturdy feeling. But yeah, this thing's coming apart at the seams already. I've never even used it. Well, I mean, it's got the divots. Whatever company this is, whatever case this is, I will know when I do the editing and it will be up there. But I'm not going to look it up now because I am right near the end and I am tired. So we are pushing through. Can't recommend this case because obviously it's fallen apart. At least there's no way anyone would possibly think that this is Aramid fiber. So I don't think they're trying to fool anyone, but that's definitely a print. A very bad one. It's like that fake leather feeling. It fits in there real nice. Buttons could be more accessible, but they're not inaccessible. That all lines up well. Very shallow bezel on the camera. Goes down here in the middle for swiping, but otherwise bezel looks good on the front. Decent MagSafe strength. Fits large MagSafe accessories. So, I don't know, maybe I got a dud. And if you like this style, and want this built-in kickstand thing, which like that. Wow, this is terrible. Like, you cannot put it up in landscape mode unfolded. What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of a stand that you can't put up in landscape mode unfolded? That's terrible. Yeah, I can't recommend this one. And last, but certainly not least for the evening, we have TORRAS. So I think these two are the same, but their materials are different. So we'll pull these out first, because these are the Q3s, which, if I remember, TORRAS means that they spin like a key, as opposed to all around like a top. Yeah, good for me. TORRAS has a TORRAS's stand is better than the one that was really bad, but like not the sturdiest out of the ones I've looked at tonight, which is impressive. All right, so this one is also, so these are the same case. Yes, they are. It's just this one is fancier. It's got the faux leather, the vegetable leather, and metal accents as opposed to that. Otherwise, ooh, shiny around the inside. And it's got felt. Okay, yeah, this one's just premium, like a premium version. All right, so we're looking at the Q3 right now. So divots, unsurprising. Springy hinge. This is not just a front piece, right? Yeah, there we go. And it comes with a screen protector as well, yeah? In here somewhere? Yeah, screen protector as well. Okay. Just making sure I had all my ducks in a row there. All right. So I'm actually using a TORRAS case on my Z Fold 7 right now, just because that was what I had sitting around when it was caseless earlier. Chamfer is really nice. I guess we can compare it to last year's, can't we? Yeah, it's the same case, which is fine. It was fine last year too. Bezel looks good, but that's not surprising because they've got screen protector in there. All those cutouts look good, and those got a little bit more cushion. Did we look at the corner? Really good divot. You can tell it's got extra padding on the outside, and it's got a really good divot on the inside, so doing all right on drop protection there. Comes right up into that ring, doesn't it? Bezel looks good. Decently grippy. Got the branding right there. It's got a little bit of grip here. It's another polycarbonate TPU case. They're almost all that. All right. Decent strength on the magnet there. And that is holding up mainly because the magnet is coming out to it. It would definitely not be staying on otherwise. All right, so that's the Q3. Now looking at the Q3 VegSkin real quick, just to see what the differences are. You've got the felt on the inside. Nicer. Springy hinge is still springy. Exterior, it's got that fake leather. It's got some texture here, so that's all very nice. That feels the same. Still see the divots. Same divots, same exterior. That's no different. All right, get that in there. Oh, and thank you all who saw the previous video and sent me well wishes for the COVID. I am mostly fully recovered. I'm still like a little tired. I haven't fully paid off my sleep debt, I don't think. Mainly because I keep making YouTube videos. Yep. So that's good. It's just kind of like a premium version of the other case. Doing good all the way around. Yep. So the Q3 VegSkin and the Q3 Spin are the same case, but slightly fancier for the VegSkin. And to anyone who watched all the way through, thank you for what you did to my retention and my watch hour. I appreciate it. YouTube likes it when people watch more of a video. As we close in on the last case of the evening, the TORRAS basic case. It just says TORRAS Stronger MagSafe. It's not even got a special designation or anything. It is just a two-piece case. You've got that kind of translucent matte thing going on. Polycarbonate, TPU. Comes with a screen protector. It's got the divots. Not surprising. Divots in the front piece too. Divots in the front piece too. I know it's hard to see in the black one sometimes. One of the reasons I like other colors. Fits in there really nice. Some good texture there. Good access to the buttons, very easy. Decent grip. Springy hinge. Got enough bezel for the screen protector, and it's also like chamfered down here a little bit, so for swiping, that's nice. And then camera bezel, looking good. MagSafe strength. Strong. It's pretty strong. MagSafe strength. That is off kilter, but not so much that I would say it's not working, because that's working, and it's not, yeah, it's not going past the corner. So it is slightly crooked, but works, but is sticking on there just fine. And that is my big honkin' power bank. So the wallet is more than fine. Okay, yeah. TORRAS putting out some decent offerings for the Z Fold 8, which is, I think, the same thing they had for the Z Fold 7, but that's fine. I can't fault the case manufacturers for putting out the same case since Samsung put out the same phone. Be sure to look out for full reviews of at least some of these cases coming out soon. If you have any preference on ones you would like to see fully reviewed sooner rather than later, let me know down in the comments. I take requests. So in case you missed it, this is the first rapid fire roundup I did, and that concludes the rapid fire roundups for this generation. My name has been Steve. This has been another rapid fire review roundup, and I will see you in the next one.